so welcome to my Bookopolothon reading vlog. I am very excited to be taking part in Becca's Bookopolothon over this weekend. I will link her announcement video in the description below, but to give you a very brief rundown, the Bookopolothon is being run by Becca over at Becca and the Books. She is a huge booktuber and there are loads and loads of different people who are taking part in the readathon, either in the same way as myself by reading and potentially vlogging, or putting posts up on Instagram, Twitter, all of these different places. But there are also loads of different people who are actually taking part in the running of the readathon. So let me explain what Bookopolothon is, how it's going to work, what I'm going to do, etc. Bookopolothon is a readathon that Becca has created based on her TBR game that she plays every month. So she plays Bookopoly, which is her version of a Monopoly board that is geared towards books and reading books. So she has a different board that she creates for each year, and then every month she plays Monopoly on the Bookopoly board, and each prompt tells her what book she's going to read. She did run, I think, a 48-hour readathon based on this last year sometime, and she also ran a month-long readathon based on this in September, which I took part in, and it was really, really fun. So when I saw that another 48-hour readathon based on Bookopoly was happening, I said, yes, sign me up, I will do that. And of course, I am vlogging this readathon. So this readathon is really special and interesting for a couple of reasons. The first one is that it's actually going to be live for the entire readathon, which is pretty amazing. Becca has organised a bunch of different booktubers who are running live reading sprints, games, chats, etc. on their channels throughout the readathon, and there are, I'm not sure how many people there are, but it's every 4 hours we switch, so you can imagine there's a lot of different people. I personally am probably not going to tune in to the live streams for every single channel. I definitely enjoy being part of live streams, commenting, watching, chatting, reading, etc. But it's not something that I can see myself particularly wanting to do for an entire 48-hour period. I do need to tune into some of the live streams, and I'll explain why in a second. So I have bookmarked the first one, which is Becca's channel, and then I've bookmarked a couple of others that I will definitely be tuning into. So the reason why I do need to tune in to 3 other live streams as well as Becca's is because the other really, really exciting thing that you need to know about this readathon is that we don't know what we are going to be reading throughout the readathon. So Becca will be doing roll drops every 12 hours, and the prompts that we get from those roll drops will tell us what we'll be reading. She has already done 2 rolls for the first prompt, so basically she's giving us 2 different boards that we can choose from. One is based on, I think, the Bookopoly board from last September, and one is her Bookopoly board for this year. Some people are trying to do a book for both of those. Some people are trying to do a combination. Some people, like myself, have just chosen one book and will be reading that 12 hours for that one book. Then each 12 hours there will be a roll drop, and they will be on different people's live streams. So the first one is on Ashley from A Frolic Through Fiction, and I will link her channel in the description below, in 12 hours. The second one is, I think, on Gavin's, which again I will link in the description below. And then the third one, I'm pretty sure, is on Aaron. They're definitely on those 2, but I'm pretty sure I've got the order right. So Gavin from How to Train Your Gavin, and Aaron from Booked and Busy. Like I said, they will be linked in the description below. We'll be having the roll drops on their channel. So I need to tune into those definitely to find out what books I will be reading, but otherwise I'll just come in and out, I think. So I'm going to move the camera slightly, which means that it's intermittent sun and overcast outside, and I'm using daylight, so we'll be having some interesting light happening. But anyway, I'm going to show you what I have set myself up with for the first part of the readathon, so I'm just going to move you down. So this is my setup for the first bit of the readathon. As you can see, I have my computer because I'm intending to watch Becca's starting, and I've got 5 minutes, so I better hurry up. So Becca's first 2 roles, you could either read a book with a dark cover or a fantasy book. I have decided to go with fantasy. Now, I have got this much of The Way of Kings left to read, which is about 150 pages. I've been reading this book quite slowly throughout the last few weeks, so I expect that I will potentially take the entire 12 hours to read this last bit of the book. However, if I am reading quicker, then I have got Frostheart 2, Escape from Aurora by Jamie Littler as a backup, which I potentially will read. It is 464 pages long, so depending on when I start it, I may end up having to use it rolling over into the next round, so hopefully there will be something that I can use. It is middle grade fantasy, so I know that both middle grade and fantasy are 2 different prompts for Becca's Bookopoly, so I could end up being able to use it for the next one. Then I also have Words of Radiance, which is the next book, part 1, which is the next book in the Stormlight Archive. So depending on how I go with this one and how totally keen I am to continue, I may pick up this one, but it is very thick and very dense. The writing is very dense, there's a lot going on, so I don't know whether it's a readathon book, so but it's there if I, decide that I need it. So I've got those 2. Over the last couple of days, I have watched a couple of videos talking about preparing for readathons and surviving readathons like this. So Steph from Steph Loves put up a 24-hour readathon survival guide, which I watched. She suggested quite a few different tips, a couple of which I thought sounded like the kind of thing that would work really well for me. To that end, I have got my water bottle. This water bottle kind of gets carried around everywhere I go anyway, partly because I do tend to drink a lot of water and partly because our cats just think that any open container is theirs for the drinking, so I like to have my water bottle because they can't get into it. She also suggested having regular snacks. So my first snack that I have ready for myself when I want it is this muesli bar, but I've got a variety of different snacks that I can eat throughout the day if I want to. Rowan and I do tend to have a lot of snacks anyway, so there's that. The other thing that she suggested was that you have like a reading buddy for the readathon. Now obviously there's going to be lots of live streams, so I can definitely do that, watch and join in there, but I also have Ellie from Elle Grey Books who has agreed to be my readathon buddy, so we'll be chatting and seeing how each other is going and stuff. Now in terms of how I will be approaching the 48-hour readathon aspect, I will not be doing 48 hours of non-stop reading without breaks or without sleep. That is not something that I am capable of doing. However, I will be doing as much reading as possible. I'm in Australia, so it's actually in the middle of the day for me. It starts at midnight Greenwich Mean Time, but that is 11 o'clock in the morning on Saturday for me, so I will be reading until around 11 for the first roll, and then the second roll will happen around 11 for me, 11 at night. What I'm planning on probably doing is staying up and watching the roll, but then I usually go to bed around 11:30, so I'll probably go to bed once I know what the roll is, and then when I get up in the morning I can then just start afresh with the new book or whatever it might be. So that is the plan. We'll just see how I go tomorrow as well. Tomorrow will be a full day. Now tomorrow evening, which is Sunday morning for people in the UK, including Becca, but tomorrow evening I will be going to the movies with my aunt, something that we've had planned for a little while, but it was supposed to be on Friday, but didn't happen on Friday. So we've postponed it to Sunday. I did think about whether or not I wanted to do that because it's in the middle of the readathon, but I thought by that time I will probably be quite tired of reading. I'll probably need a break, so it seemed like a perfect opportunity to go for a break. But yeah, I'm just going to take it how it is. So that kind of brings me to Maddie from Book Browsing Blogs video that she put up about the same thing, readathon survival guide tips. She said that basically kind of make a goal of what you want to achieve and how you want to approach it, and then go with that, rather than trying to compete with everyone else who's doing whatever they're doing, 8 books in the 48 hours, non-stop reading, etc. My goal really is just to participate, have a good time, do some reading, have some fun, do some vlogging, and see how I go. So if I start to get reader's fatigue or anything like that, then I am going to have breaks and do something else. So it is just after 11. I'm going to tune in now to Becca's Bookopoly to start the readathon and see what's happening there. Maybe say hello, make sure that I'm part of it.
God, now because the chat is moving so fast, but we're almost on 900 people now.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, yeah.
I don't really have a plan for this live, aside from that we are going to get this kind of reading, and we're also going to be doing dice friends, which is always a fun and also chaotic time. But especially to those of you guys who don't know what dice friends are, I will be rolling 2 6-sided dice, which is how...
Wow, there are 1,000 people tuned into this live stream. I have never seen that many people on a live stream. That is amazing. A lot of people excited for this readathon. There's going to be a 20-minute sprint starting in 4 minutes.
Did you know?
I did know.
Oh, your readathon.
Peanut is always part of the readathons because she's Peanut. That is Peanut talking to Rowan and saying, "Excuse me, Daddy, it's time to be giving Peanut some snuggles. Thank you."
I would say when we're in the last hour of the live, you have to drink at least 1 shot.
Yeah.
They're talking about what and if they're drinking alcohol. I am not going to do that because it is 11:30 in the morning, and not that there's anything wrong with drinking 11:30 in the morning, but if I started drinking now, then this readathon would not continue to actually be me reading during the readathon. So the sprints are going for 35 minutes. Okay, so Becca just rolled 50 minutes for the next sprint. So I've decided that I will log off that now and read myself a little bit, and then it'll be Maddie on book browsing blogs turn to take over the sprints. So what I'm going to do is, it is now 22:01, so I'm going to read just by myself. I won't do the sprints for the next couple of hours. I will probably tune in to see how everyone's going over on Becca's channel in the last sort of 10 minutes or so, and then I'll tune in to the first bit of Maddie's live and see how that's going. But yeah, I'm just going to sit now and read for a little bit. Got my peanut companion behind me. I may also jump in and sort of chat with you guys as I go along, but I might turn the camera off for a little bit and just chill and read. I got my cup of tea, so alright, I'll talk to you in a bit. So it's 2:30 in the afternoon for me, which makes it about 3:30 in the morning for Becca and everyone who is in the UK. And I am still reading. I am up to page 456, which means I have about 68 pages left to read. And yeah, things are happening. It's very, very interesting. So I'm going to have to continue reading, which, you know, I was going to do anyway because it's a readathon. But yeah, I'm really excited and really enjoying it. So I've had a little bit of food, had a little bit of lunch, just some toast. So I've had a few up and downs from the chair, but I'm going to spend a little bit of time doing some circles around the lounge room. So I thought you might find that amusing to watch. So here we go. So I just watched the end of Becca's sprints, and she had a glass like this, and she did that to measure herself out a shot, which of course meant that she had significantly more than a shot, because yeah, that is more than a shot. So that was fun to see that craziness happen, and then there were a whole bunch of people in the comments being like, yeah, we're shooting as well, and yeah. So anyway, it's now gone over to Maddie from Book Browsing Blogs channel, and that's with Steph from Steph Loves. So I'm going to tune into that for a little bit and join in their sprints and chats. So I might just position you a bit differently.
Read a graphic novel because I thought that sounded like a laugh. It doesn't fit any of the prompts, but it looks fun. Nice. And my secondary is Skyward Volume 2, which is also a graphic novel. And so what we're going to do is the winner of each round gets to continue reading their primary book, and similar to dice sprints, the loser has to switch to their secondary book. So we could be absolutely scuppered and make no progress on the book we actually need to read in this. Is very possible. You guys feel free to join in the comments, and you can do it whatever way you want. You can keep score of yourself.
Oops, I was talking to you and I kind of missed the rules, so anyway, that's okay, we'll see.
So let's do half an hour. Nice, like, I don't think children to start as often if you haven't already been going for 4 hours, but...
Well, I just finished the book, and I As you'd expect from having just finished the first book in an epic fantasy series, I have a lot more questions than I have answers. I feel like I need to start Words of Radiance like immediately, but at the same time I kind of want a break. Anyway, it's 5:20 for me, which means we are just about 6.5 hours into the 48-hour readathon. So I finished the book, which meant I read only about 150 pages in 6 hours, which I knew would probably happen. Now, I have got some audiobooks on my phone, and I'll input a image somewhere here, but basically I have a couple of short story collections on my phone that have dark covers, so I can totally get away with listening to those while I cook dinner, which I'm going to do soon. However, I also have rethought my approach, and I am buddy reading with my friend Alison, Red Seas Under Red Skies, which has a dark cover and is a fantasy. I vaguely recall Becca saying we're supposed to finish books, but then other people are reading one book all the whole time. So anyway, I am going to listen to the short stories, one of the short stories while I cook, but I'm also going to, for the rest of the evening, read the bit of Red Seas Under Red Skies. It was about 90 pages, which I should be able to read this evening. So that should cover me for the rest of this 12-hour roll section. Right now, though, I'm going to have a little bit of a break from reading, and I'm actually going to watch a couple of YouTube videos. I might even show you some of my cooking. We shall see. But see you in a bit. I am going to cook Rowan and I some dinner. So we get Marley Spoon delivered, which is like, I'm sure, many other dinner delivery services. You get a package with a bunch of ingredients in it, you get recipe cards, and then you cook it up. So we are making roast veggie and halloumi salad today. So I'm going to do that now. I have got myself a glass of bubbly, and I have got an audiobook to listen to. Okay, I admit it, I made a giant mess, but how delicious does that look? Hello, it is 8 o'clock in the morning. I am, if you can hear the noise in the background, that is the kettle boiling. I am making coffee. Just gotten up. I did actually read a little bit last night of The Deep by Rivers Solomon when I went to bed, but I fairly quickly ran out of steam for that one. So I'm going to read that this morning. Oh, excuse me. So I've only got about 3 hours left until the next roll job, so I don't think I'll get to a contemporary. Yeah, I still have most of that book to read, so I'm going to focus on that book this morning. Go and make that coffee and get some reading done, and I'll talk to you in a little bit. Hi, editing Mel here. I just realised that I did not at any point explain what Ashley's roll drop, which was for Ashley midday the following day, and for me 11 o'clock at night. So the roll drop on that channel was to read either a book that somehow featured a person of colour, or to read a contemporary. So I ended up choosing The Deep by Rivers Solomon as person of colour. I did think if I got enough of that read, I potentially would pick up a contemporary, but that did not happen. Yes, so that's just a little bit more of an explanation for you, and now back to video Mel. It's after 11, which means it should be pretty much time for the next roll drop. Well, let's watch it together, shall we?
Okay, are you guys ready for the first roll drop?
Bookopolothon board roll number 3 is an 8. And that is the first book in a series.
Yeah, so this is the second roll.
2021 board roll number 3 is a 9. And that is a chance card, and my chance card is Confess by Colleen Hoover.
Okay, so you guys don't have to read Confess by Colleen Hoover. That's not what the chance card is. So Becca explained this to me. So if you have your TBR and you have a set amount of books that you'd like to read, you have to pick the same amount of books for the books that you want to read and the books that you maybe don't want to read as much. You number them, you give them each a number, and then you can use a random number generator to pick which book you end up having to read. So, I mean, you guys, that is why we're not going to sprint until about half past, about 30 minutes past, just to let you guys have a chance to pick something. But yeah, I mean, that sounds fun. It sounds like it could be anything. You could pick anything you want for it.
I'm excited. That sounds really cool.
As you saw, we just had the roll drops on Gavin's channel. I still have about probably a third of The Deep by Rivers Solomon to read. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this book, then I'm going to go and have a shower, and then I'm going to start, I think, 6 of Crows. That's actually what Lexi said she might read, and it made me realise that, hey, that's the beginning of a series that I've been meaning to read, so that works out really well. So I think that I will do that. I am going out for movies with Jenny tonight, so we'll see how much reading I get done. It's just the way it is. I have now discovered, as I'm sure you noticed, that Gavin is behind on his reading, and that's okay. It's part of the fun, and it really doesn't matter because it's all about us enjoying ourselves and having a good time. So, gonna finish this one because it is quite interesting, although very odd. Actually, I could pick up a Shala because it's the first in a series, as it turns out, which I didn't realise. And it is on my monthly TBR. I will think about it. I'll let you know. I'm going to read now. Hello. I have deliberately positioned this as at an odd angle because, once again, I have Peanut here behind me. This is her new favourite spot, so we will be seeing a lot of Peanut. As you can see, I just had a shower, got dressed, and it is 20 to 2, which means I have just under 3.5 hours, I should say, before I need to go and meet my aunt. I did think about it, and I've decided to go with A Charlotte Wolf, the interrogation, I should say, of A Charlotte Wolf by Amberlynn Quay Molina. So this is the first in a series. I will put the pictures of the other books in the series up there. I actually only just realised that the other books had been written. For some reason I thought that they hadn't been written yet or something, but apparently they have, so if I like it I will try and find them. But yes, so this is a urban fantasy style, although it's not set in a city, it's set in the outback of Australia. It's written by an Australian Aboriginal author, and it's based on Australian Aboriginal mythology and belief structures, so I think that sounds like it would be really, really interesting. So it is 395 pages long, but yeah, the margins are really quite big and the font is quite big, so I'm thinking I should get through this reasonably quickly. I say that, but I just spent 3 hours reading The Deep by Rivers Solomon, which is like 240 pages on my e-reader, and I spent 3 hours reading it. However, I think that was actually quite dense, and it's a writing style that I'm not as familiar with or that I enjoy as much. But anyway, right at this very moment, however, I do have this giant croissant to eat and a cup of tea. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to eat my giant croissant and watch a YouTube video or two and then start this book when I have finished. I'll check back in with you in a little bit and let you know how I'm going with it. it's Monday morning, which means it is Sunday evening for Becca and everyone in the UK, which means it's the last little bit of the readathon. So it's 8 o'clock in the morning for me, and the readathon will finish at 11. So I've got about 3 hours left. I did not do any reading when I got home last night. I fully intended to, but I brought home dinner for Rowan and I, and then we ate it and watched telly, and then I just sort of stayed in front of the television, and then I was tired and so I went to bed. Which means that I did hear the roll drops, but I don't think I'll get to those roll drops because I'm only still a third of the way through A Shala Wolf, and I've got an early appointment I have to go to this morning, so although I can take the book, and I will take the book and read while I wait for the appointment to happen. So yeah, I don't think I will get to either of those roles, and they were read something other, which basically means read out of your comfort zone. So sort of take your third most popular, most read genre outwards and read something from there, or read something set in the present. So I have plenty of books that I could read for either of those, but like I said, I'm only a third of the way through A Shala Wolf, and I do really want to read that one and finish it, partly because I'm enjoying it, partly because it's on my TBR for the month anyway. So I think then I'm just going to call it and say I'm not going to do the last prompts, which I'm fine with. I've had a really, really great time. Really enjoyed the readathon. I've tuned into quite a few of the live sprints on different channels, and they've been really, really fun. Everyone seems to be having a good time, and I've commented on those and, you know, joined in the party and stuff, so that's been really, really fun. And yeah, so I've had a really great time, had a really good reading time. So I'm just going to call it and say awesome, finished, and I'll talk to you in a little while. So it is midday, just after midday on Monday morning, which means that it is just after 1 o'clock in the morning for people living in the UK, including, of course, Becca, who is the originator of this readathon. So basically, we have now come to an end of Becca's Bookopoly. I think I did pretty well. I mean, I didn't do as well as I know other people did who read 8 books or so, but I'm still pretty happy with what I read. I haven't actually done a page count, but I don't think it was a huge amount in the end. But that's okay. Like I said, I participated and had a great time. So I'm actually now about halfway through A Shala Wolf. So the appointment that I went to this morning took a bit longer, but I was able to read some of this while I was in waiting rooms. Yes, so I'm about halfway through that. I will probably sit down and try and finish it. If not today, then certainly tomorrow, because I'm getting through it quite quickly. But I do need to go and do some editing now because I'd like to get this up today. So I thought I'd let you know how I went and let you know what a great time it was. So a big thank you to Becca for such a fun readathon. I know she put in a lot of work. There must have been so much going into this. I just can't even fathom it. But with all the lives to organise and all of that was amazing. And thank you all to all the people who ran all the lives. They were really, really fun. I didn't tune into all of them, but the ones I did tune into, I had a great time. And yeah, thank you, Ellie, for being my Bookopolothon buddy. That was really fun, and that's it. So please comment below and let me know if you went in the Bookopoly, if you had a good time, what books you've read, did you manage to do all the prompts, etc. If you want to let me know you're here, please do leave me an emoji. I'm gonna go with a dice emoji since it was Bookopoly. Anyway guys, that's it from me today. I really hope you had a great time with the Bookopoly. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.